Have you ever wondered why some men marry certain women but only play games with others? Why does one woman get a ring while another gets breadcrumbs even when she's beautiful, smart, and kind? Here's the hard truth. It often has nothing to do with you and everything to do with what's happening in his subconscious mind. One legendary psychologist spent his life mapping the hidden forces that shape attraction, forces most people never even see. He discovered that men don't choose partners by luck or logic alone. Their choices are driven by deep, unconscious patterns, primal desires, and unresolved wounds buried long ago. So what really separates the woman a man commits to from the one he only plays with? What makes her wife material in his eyes while another stays a fleeting fantasy? The answer lives in a hidden feminine blueprint inside every man's psyche. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly how these invisible forces work and what it really takes to unlock deep, lasting commitment. Stay with me, because this changes how you read every relationship you've ever had. This concept is one of the most profound keys to understanding the human mind, especially when it comes to love, attraction, and commitment. It represents the unconscious feminine side inside every man, an inner image shaped by his upbringing, his culture, his experiences, and even the echoes of his ancestors. It's not a vague idea. It's a living, breathing force that colors how he sees women, how he treats relationships, and how he sees himself. Because it works beneath the surface of his conscious thoughts, a man may have no idea how deeply it steers his choices. He just feels pulled towards some women, pushed away from others, and sometimes torn between two desires at once, all because of this hidden feminine presence living inside him. And here's the part nobody tells you. That presence isn't fixed. It grows and changes through different stages, and each stage is a different kind of feminine energy. Early in his life, a man's inner image is shaped most by his mother or whoever raised him, and that shapes what he expects from nurturing, safety, and devotion. As he matures, that image expands to include other expressions: the seductress, the companion, the muse, the wise guide. But here's the crucial part. Men don't just see women as they really are, they project. They look at a woman and unconsciously assign her a role based on which energy she seems to bring out in him. This is why two men can meet the exact same woman and walk away with totally different feelings. One sees a future wife, the other sees a passing thrill. It was never really about her. It's about which part of his own inner world she reflects back to him. That single idea explains so much confusion in modern dating. Let's walk through the stages because they play out in real life every single day. The first stage is the nurturer. Think of her as the source of comfort and safety, the pure, devoted caretaker who offers unconditional warmth. When a man is stuck in this stage, he craves stability, tradition, and the feeling of home. Women who carry this energy are often put on a pedestal, adored for their loyalty and softness, instantly seen as wife material. But there's a shadow side. If a man stays trapped in this stage, he can struggle with passion. He starts to believe desire and love are separate things. He might marry the good girl and secretly ache for the excitement he believes belongs somewhere else. And that's when the quiet unhappiness begins. Then comes the seductress. This is where things get complicated. She represents raw magnetism, sensual allure, the intoxicating and unpredictable side of the feminine. The woman who lights a man up but doesn't fit neatly inside his picture of domestic life. Men drawn to this energy feel explosive chemistry, but relationships built on that energy alone burn hot and fast, because this archetype exists in a fantasy, not in everyday reality. She's the muse who inspires obsession but rarely earns commitment, especially from a man who hasn't faced his own darkness. He may secretly compare real partners to an impossible standard of passion, or he may chase fleeting affairs with women who carry this spark while saving marriage for someone he considers safer. And here's the tragedy. The woman under the fantasy rarely gets seen at all. She's reduced to a role, and both people end up feeling empty. The third stage marks a turning point. Here the inner feminine grows past the old split between saint and seductress, and love begins to merge with wisdom. This is the companion, the partner who is both lover and friend, the woman who inspires growth, not just comfort or excitement. Relationships rooted in this energy have real depth. These are the partnerships where a man feels truly seen and gently challenged at the same time. This kind of woman often becomes a long-term partner because she represents a more mature way of loving. She isn't put on a pedestal and she isn't objectified. She walks beside a man as an equal. This is where real intimacy begins because the fantasy starts to dissolve. A man with a developed inner world doesn't love her just for what she gives him. He loves her for who she is. And that's why these bonds tend to outlast the ones built on the earlier stages. Finally, there's the rarest and most evolved stage, the wise guide. This is the feminine presence that goes beyond romance altogether. She isn't just a partner, she's a symbol of insight, creativity, and something sacred. Men who connect with this energy usually do so later in life, after they've stopped chasing validation and conquest. She inspires not just love, but transformation. She appears as a mentor, an artistic muse, or even as an inner voice, guiding him toward a higher version of himself. Relationships touched by this stage are less about possession and more about mutual growth. But because this energy lives beyond conventional romance, few men find her in a literal partner. Instead, she shows up in creative partnerships, in spiritual connections, or in the quiet wisdom of a marriage that has matured into something deeper. And here's the beautiful part. A woman is never just one of these. She contains all of them. The key insight is that men don't consciously pick these roles. They get drawn to them based on where they are in their own development. A man who hasn't reconciled his need for security with his hunger for passion will swing between the first two energies, committing to one while secretly craving the other. Another man, further along his journey, may seek the companion while meeting the wise guide in brief, profound connections that change his life without ever leading to a wedding ring. Understanding this isn't about labeling women or stuffing them into boxes. It's about realizing that attraction is rarely personal. When a man sees you as wife material or as just a fling, it says almost nothing about your worth. It says everything about which part of his own psyche you touch, and that is honestly freeing. But beneath all of this lies something even deeper, the dark room of the unconscious, old wounds and repressed parts of the self. What we deny in ourselves doesn't disappear. It leaks out into our relationships, often in destructive and contradictory patterns. A man who hasn't faced his shadow gets trapped in cycles of attraction that confuse everyone involved, including him. His unresolved pain from childhood wounds, from social conditioning, from old heartbreaks, becomes the invisible architect of his desires. This explains why some men chase thrill after thrill while simultaneously running from real intimacy. That seductive energy represents more than just passion. She carries the parts of himself he's afraid to admit exist, his raw desire, his vulnerability, his fear of losing control. In chasing her, he's not just looking for pleasure. He's trying to reclaim pieces of himself, even though he'll never realize it. This inner split shows up as a fear of vulnerability disguised as detachment. A man might enjoy passionate flings precisely because they feel safely unreal. They live in a fantasy space where he never has to face his deeper need for connection. The second a relationship starts to get real, the second it demands genuine openness, he pulls away or sabotages it, because his shadow holds buried fears of not being enough, of being swallowed up, of repeating the wounds he watched his parents carry. Until he brings those fears into the light, he'll keep recreating the same pattern. Intense attraction without real commitment, mistaking the rush of the chase for the comfort of love. Society makes this worse with an old and painful split, separating women into two categories: the pure one you respect and marry, the seductive one you desire and discard. It's not just a conflict about women. It's a man divided against himself, stuck at an early stage where the feminine is either all good or all consuming. This explains why some men can only commit to women they secretly resent, the sweet ones they respect but don't desire, while they save their passion for women they'd never take seriously. And the tragedy is that neither woman gets seen as a full human being. Both are reduced to symbols of his inner war. But there's a way out. It requires a man to face what he has disowned. Not just his dark desires, but his softness, his need to be held, his fear of being truly known. When a man does this work, something remarkable happens. The projections fade. He no longer needs to put women into boxes because he's no longer splitting himself. That seductive energy loses its grip on him because he's made peace with his own appetite. The safe and steady energy stops feeling like a cage because he's accepted his need for security without shame. This integration is what allows mature love to exist. A woman who can be both sensual and sacred. A commitment that doesn't kill desire, but deepens it. Now here's the empowering part. You are not powerless in any of this. You can't control which role a man projects onto you, but you can learn to see it happening and decide whether to play along. This isn't about changing yourself to fit some imagined ideal. It's about understanding the hidden forces so you can make conscious choices. Start with honest self-awareness. Ask yourself whether you're naturally expressing your nurturing side, your sensual power, your wisdom, or whether you're shrinking yourself to earn love. There's a huge difference between being genuinely soft and performing softness for a ring. When you operate from authenticity, you short-circuit the whole projection cycle. A man can't reduce you to a fantasy when you're grounded in your full humanity, and please don't use this as a manipulation playbook. Playing a role to trap a man backfires every single time. It's exhausting, it attracts people who love the mask instead of you, and it chains you to the very powerlessness you're trying to escape. Real strength comes from being so whole that you naturally repel anyone who can't see you. That doesn't mean you can't be intentional. There's wisdom in knowing when to lead with tenderness or playful energy. The difference is whether you choose from awareness or from fear. The healthiest relationships happen when both people are doing their inner work. That means having the courage to see and be seen. Noticing when you're idealizing someone or being idealized, and gently bringing things back down to earth. It means having the hard conversations about needs, fears, and expectations. And it means patience, because real growth never ends. You can't force a man to face his shadows, but you can refuse to be collateral damage in his patterns. You can set boundaries when you feel reduced to a role instead of respected as a person. You can choose partners who are actively growing. And most importantly, you can build yourself so completely that no one's perception defines you. When a woman stands firm in her wholeness, she stops playing a role in someone else's story. She starts writing her own. And that's where real love begins. Not in the shadows of fantasy, but in the clear light of two people who truly see each other. So tell me, which energy do you feel most at home in? The gentle strength of the nurturer, the magnetic fire of the seductress, the balanced depth of the companion, or the quiet wisdom of the guide? Or do you move between them at different seasons of life? Drop a comment. Your story might help another woman see her own love life clearly for the first time. And if this resonated, like and subscribe, because there's so much more to uncover about how the mind shapes the heart. True power in love starts with awareness, the kind that transforms not just who you attract, but how you see yourself. Because when you stop seeing yourself through someone else's eyes, you become the rarest thing of all, a woman who defines herself. The most fascinating story isn't the one being projected onto you. It's the one you're writing for yourself.